Welcome back to the Broad Street Benchwarmers podcast. My name is Adam Den. Ethan Leviditis is here with me, and we are coming to you after. I
Oh
mean,
Lord, pain.
that's the
I
most
mean, it
depressing
was very
ever.
pathetic.
Yo, the Philadelphia Eagles suffering a Sunday Night Football 20-14 loss to the team with no name, the Washington Football Team, and I told Ethan before this. I think there was just one thing I wanted to get out of the way.
Yeah,
A little bit of a false media narrative
yeah.
before we get to the real actual game. So I'm just gonna go out and say it now. To anyone and everyone who has made the decision to criticize the Philadelphia Eagles organization and Doug Peterson for putting Nate Sudfeld in the fourth quarter of that game and calling it tanking and taking it as disrespect is absolutely disgraceful in the
Yeah,
words of.
it's dumb.
I mean, you look at it. This is a team that has no reason,
To try.
absolutely no reason to compete in that game exactly. And so, the Jaguars did it.
Yeah,
Nobody
they benched Minshew from Ron Glenn, and nobody really cared.
nobody cared. So I'm sorry that your Sunday Night Football and your popcorn watching is suddenly ruined by a team that is attempting to evaluate its players. But look, you got the football team. You got the story that you wanted.
Yeah,
So leave the narrative alone. Let us have our sixth pick and shut up.
yeah,
And then for Joe Judge and the New York Giants
yeah.
players, last
I
to
don't
you,
see why it's valid to come at us like you deserve to win the division. Like you lost to us in the regular season, and then you're talking all this crap.
exactly.
Like, there's no reason why a 6-10 team should be in the playoffs ever. And it's pathetic.
Us.
But y'all, if you lose, if you're saying that we're like a pathetic organization, you lost to us, and like your offense just is pathetic, and like you're coming at us when we would much rather have the sixth pick than the ninth pick. Like, I don't see why we should have gone. Oh yeah, let's just drop down 3 spots to avoid getting a generational receiver in Jamar Chase or Devontae Smith.
Let's
Let's
just
just
get a
get
Manuel Swift. Yeah.
uh, a random tackle from like a Big 12 school.
And they'll still probably do that. Let's
Yeah,
be real
yeah,
here.
obviously.
But to call us a disgrace to football, it
Yeah,
was a disgrace to football to
I
watch
mean,
you lose 3 of your last 4 and go 0-6 to start off the season.
yeah,
That was a disgrace to football. I'm
yeah.
sorry.
Like everything was panning out for them to make the playoffs, and they just no,
Exactly.
let's just blow it. Like, you can't get absolutely killed by the Cowboys and just expect to just claim that you deserve to win the division, because I know this is the worst division of football, but if you can't win can't be the best team in the worst division of football, it's like kind of your fault.
Well, exactly. I
We
mean,
we we owe the New York Giants nothing.
yup. They're
We
our
we
rivals. This is how it's supposed to be. We
Yeah, we're
don't
not
care if
supposed.
you don't like us.
We don't need to play spoiler for you
Yeah.
to for your 2 games below 500 record. Like,
Yeah. You want to get better? You want to make the playoffs? Well, maybe don't draft a running back with the third overall pick and, take a quarterback from deep.
yeah,
But
maybe like not give an insane amount of snaps to one of the most infuriatingly awful tight ends in football. You know,
who's a Pro Bowler? He is
yeah,
a
who's
Pro
a Pro Bowler, but
one of the most infuriating
yeah,
Pro Bowl tight ends
yeah,
in the history.
and drafting the third or fourth best tackle in a draft that is probably two future All-Pros, Tristan Wirfs and Mekhi Becton and Jedrick Wills, but I'm not gonna go there. It's
No, I'm not gonna go there.
no.
No, it is what it is.
Yeah.
Football is.
You can keep attacking us about how pathetic we are as a team, and yes, we are. We're not gonna hide that. But we have no reason to sympathize for you when you were a little bit better than us, but you still were trash. Yeah, they were garbage, and we were flaming hot garbage. It's not like there's no reason to complain when you're supposed to play to win, and I mean you're not winning games either. So
No. If they weren't in tank division, it would not be the same. That is...
yeah. They would put them in like the NFC West, and they would win like 4 games.
Yo, exactly. Yo. But I mean, to go into, do we really want to go into the actual game we just played?
I mean there's not much to talk about.
Yeah. I mean, I will say, Jalen Hurts, 7 for 20, 72 yards and a pick.
2 rushing
8
touchdowns.
For 34, 2 rushing touchdowns. Yeah.
Just whatever.
Yeah.
I know this will make a lot of people think, oh well, Carson wasn't the problem, but like Jalen Hurts just showed enough this season, like against Arizona and against New Orleans. New Orleans is like a top 3 defense in the league. Yeah, I know it's rough, but I can't see how you can continue to move forward with Carson Wentz with how much money that'll just completely decimate the team, because we're already in a cap hell and I'm really, I don't know. I know how he's gonna screw it up some way, but I don't know. I'm not kind of standing by Jalen Hurts because he was trash this week. He was garbage.
Yeah.
I don't think it would have made a difference if we had him or Sudfeld, to be honest. It would have been.
Come on, Sudfeld threw it.
If
Sudfeld played that whole game, he would have threw a pick on the first drive.
If Jalen Hurts played out the rest of the game, it would have. We still would have lost.
Yeah, we still would have lost. But I mean, I just feel like Jalen Hurts was good. Yes, for
2 games.
It does worry me that NFL defenses seem to have somewhat figured out the formula, like they did with Lamar Jackson 2 years ago. I mean, it's that QB spy, it's that zone coverage because not the most accurate. So I think he's going to need to do what Lamar did, last offseason, and just work on the accuracy, work on that short to mid ball, do it, and what all these running quarterbacks have done. And I think he should continue to develop off that.
Yeah. I mean, this was a recipe for disaster, anyways, because see, no Lane, no Mailata. Mailata's been playing good, which is very strange to say. But I think no Matt Pryor, which means nothing because he sucks. But it just means it's just so decimated to playing against one of the best defensive lines in football with Ioannidis, Ron Payne, Jonathan Allen, and Chase Young, obviously, who murdered us. But and when you have Quez Watkins as your read on a 4th and goal,
that's not really.
I don't think you're gonna win a game.
Yeah.
I mean, the football team isn't even that bad, as much as it hurts me to say. They're pretty bad. Like their offense is weak outside of McLaurin, Logan Thomas, and Gibson, maybe McKissick, but that defense is just way too much for our completely just annihilated offense to compete against. So
yeah, I feel like, I mean, if that team was in any other division, I feel somewhat confident that they would reach close to the record they have now. It's probably one of the only teams I feel that way. But they played horrible against a team that may have legitimately been trying to lose. And that's not a good sign going into the playoffs, to say the least.
Yeah, even though the 4 seed, I have no anticipation of them coming close to beating the Bucs. So
No, I don't either.
yeah, it's going to be very bad to watch.
I mean, I think
I'm all for Tom Brady to lose, but
I think it's underrated how that defense can affect them.
Yeah, if that defense can play up to its potential, then they'll. Yeah, because if you contain the offense, then they're going to do nothing. Because I think the defenses and offenses of Washington and Tampa Bay, like that air raid offense with Bruce Arians against that defensive line, and the secondary is doing bad. Shout out to Carl for picking us. And,
shout out to Darby.
Yeah, I mean, we're gonna get to the playoffs in a minute, but the football team, congratulations.
Yeah.
Just got a quarterback, so we don't have to see Alex Smith get obliterated again. That would be very appreciated. It's not like you have Haskins anymore, so.
I mean, he might retire. I don't know.
Yeah, I think he should, and I don't see them. I mean, they could go like Mac Jones, like the second round or something.
I think Trey Lance should be available there. I mean,
he might be. He's either going like there or like Indy. I think.
Yeah. I mean, they are I think they will. Well, they will be if they lose this weekend, like we probably know they will. Yeah. I mean, they should be picking above Indy. So.
Yeah.
But do we want to go talk about the Eagles free agents, or do we want to go straight into playoffs?
I mean, we're. I'm just gonna. I don't have a ton to say because we're in cap hell now.
Yeah.
So we restructured Alshon. I think we restructured Fletcher's contract, and I mean, we have a few guys that could help, but in the grand scheme of things, as long as these gigantic contracts are still in the books, i.e. Carson Wentz, and but I don't know. We have to. I know this is very unrealistic expectations, but expecting Howard Roseman to have a good draft is not gonna happen.
I mean, this is our Super Bowl. That's the crazy part. This draft, this is the most important draft that the Philadelphia Eagles
we're getting old, and our youth is just
Yeah, exactly.
Like outside of Miles and.
Yeah. Outside of Mailata? Do we want to say Mailata?
Yeah, Mailata, and I guess Jalen.
Oh, I
know Rigger sucks. I know they're not good, but you kind of have to keep them around.
Yeah.
And I mean, the secondaries, I mean, it's getting older, especially with like Darius Slay. And I mean, couldn't get in secondary because we got a lot of free agents coming there.
Yeah. Like, I think Slay will play another 3 years.
Yeah, and I mean the D line's obviously getting older with Fletch and Brandon Graham and Hargrave, and I mean Josh Sweat's relatively young.
Josh Sweat is fantastic. I mean, I like him better than I like Barnett. I will be completely honest on that. And the limited snaps that he does get.
I mean, the contract is a lot more favorable at this point.
Exactly.
So. He's probably been
Javon Hargrave.
Top 3 best defensive player for us this year.
Yeah, honestly.
Which isn't saying much.
I think the only notable free agent who I think I wanted to talk about was Greg Ward. I do feel like, that is a guy you have to
he's a good depth guy.
Chase after. I feel like, as a wide receiver 3, the impact that I feel like he could have, just being the reliable receiver that he is. I definitely want him back here. Alex Singleton, I also think,
as much as we talk trash about our linebackers, he's actually not terrible.
He's been solid. I mean, he's still very, very bad in pass coverage. I'm not even terrible. But you saw that Logan Thomas play last night. He just lost him. But I mean, he is a very good run defender. So I mean, if you want to just play him for depth, that would hopefully
on the outside, then that's fine. But
Yeah. And
yeah,
Jalen Mills,
Jalen Mills,
if you can get him on a cheap
yeah,
contract
which is
with the
not what
way
he
he's
was on right
played,
now. He was on like 4 mil. So I
yeah,
could
but it
say
was a 1 year.
contract,
Yeah,
then you're fine.
yeah, like 3 years, like 10 to 15 million. I
Yeah,
think that would be
yeah.
that would be reasonable.
If you just push the money back as far as possible, then you're fine. If you
Yeah.
backload it, then it's fine
Yeah.
because better than he's been years previous, but that's not saying a ton.
I
So
think he can be a solid depth piece
yeah,
at the very least. But yeah, I mean, do we have to address the Carson elephant in the room, or
well, I mean, I guess we can go
kind of
on.
already
Like,
did,
yeah,
but
it's a people say that we failed, and we kind of did, but I will always say that he played himself out of his job. Like we did surround him with a terrible offensive line and below average weapons, but you did that last year. You carried us to the playoffs.
well,
So
the fact is, Hurts simply outplayed him when he was on the field.
yeah,
And, you can't bench a guy who's outplaying you just because the other guy makes $30 million. You
yeah,
know, this is a game of football, not a game of contract length.
yeah,
So, at the end of the day, if Hurts is your best option, which I still think he is going into camp next year, I think, there is probably going to be this big debate and this quarterback competition and blah, 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 blah that Doug tries to start. But I would be legitimately shocked if Jalen Hurts did not win the job out of camp next year.
yeah,
And, like I said earlier, hopefully he improves, gets more accurate, and I think he can be a solid quarterback in this league. I
yeah,
think I liked, out of the 4 rookie quarterbacks who played, I would put him behind Burrow and Herbert, but probably over Tua.
yeah, yeah. Tua hasn't looked good at all.
No, he hasn't.
So,
But, I mean, that's the number 6 overall pick we're talking about.
yeah,
So I think there is hope and expectation for this guy.
yeah. It's so like we still have had to run Jalen. No, we still have to run Carson if we didn't draft Jalen. Like, there's no way we could have started Sudfeld for these last couple games.
I mean, literally our first podcast, we went off and we were and angered, but they must have known
We
something.
did not expect Carson Wentz to regress this hard. So
Yeah,
Howie Roseman, even though it was very strange at the start. It kind of panned out barely.
yeah. I
Like,
mean, I think it did. Honestly,
yeah, I mean,
yeah.
he
Second
won
round pick
us.
for your starting quarterback right now, yeah.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
if
I
he
mean,
continues to develop like this, for sure.
yeah, you're fine.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's a much more team friendly contract. So
yeah. It's like $1 million.
if we can somehow get like Indy to swallow all that money,
Yeah,
like
I mean,
I mean they have a lot of cap space, so maybe they can. And
again, I
the
think it's
money
going to
from
take
the
people
yeah.
respect.
Yeah, they'll
I
have to
think,
throw in like a pick,
yeah.
like a mid-round pick, just so they can be like, yeah, we'll just pay this quarterback who's went from an MVP to like a below-average starter for like a second. I'm like, okay,
I mean, they're going to need it after Philip Rivers, and I don't think there's
yeah,
going to be a reasonable quarterback who's going to slip to them. I
yeah,
I mean, we'll get into it when we do our draft preview later in the year, but I think Kyle Trask is overrated and terrible.
yeah.
I
He's kind
kind of,
of fallen off a cliff. His draft
yeah.
stock has
I
died.
mean, he threw 3 picks, didn't he? At first, yeah. And then Mac Jones, I
Mm,
actually think is fine, but he's
it's fine.
incredibly unathletic and
Yeah,
reminds me of almost like Philip Rivers.
yeah,
So if you want somebody who has the potential to add something in your offense or be really horrible, but has that potential, it's my pitch, Indy.
yeah, yeah. I
But
mean, yeah, yeah. We talked about Trey Lance, but like maybe I'm
yeah,
not sure.
no,
We have our doubts about Trey Lance,
yeah.
mostly because of his college, but and the competition he's played. But Yeah, once we get to that, we'll hope to God that it's Devontae or Jamar Chase, or once we post our live reaction, and if it's not, if it's a Daniel Jones moment, we're gonna
That would be.
that better be our masterpiece that like we can.
I mean, Waddle would be. I would be thrilled with. I know he's coming
Yeah.
back. I'm so excited to watch that championship game with him back on the field. But Devontae Smith would be great too, and I pray the Dolphins don't take Jamar Chase because
I mean, yeah, unless they have to trade down. Like 3 is the last receiver to go that high was like Corey Davis. Like
well,
number
yeah,
5,
but
2016, 17.
still, I mean,
Yeah,
Jamar
Jamar
Chase
Chase
is
is
a talent. Yeah,
and I think just Sewell is just a much more immediate need
yeah,
because if you invest all this into Tua, you have to protect him. Like Austin Jackson is not good.
no,
I don't think they have, do they still have Eric Flowers?
I think they do.
He might be the best
Yeah,
lineman right now, and a lot of people have said that Sewell is like the best lineman prospect since like Trent Williams. So
yeah,
you kind of have to. I mean,
yeah.
I would, if I were them, I would consider trading back to maybe like Cincy's spot just to get a little more, like maybe like a few future picks. Just because if you know you want to get Jamar Chase, he's gonna be there at 3 because
Yeah.
it's gonna be quarterback 1-2.
Yo, and since he would easily take Penny, and
Yeah,
then who's
and
number 4? Atlanta
Atlanta's
gets
a
edge
4.
rusher.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and they do not need a receiver. They've
No.
found Julio.
Yeah.
Like if Justin Fields did not have a good Sugar Bowl, he could have fallen to them at 4.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of
That would have
guys.
been a perfect fit. A
A
perfect
lot of
fit.
guys had Zach Wilson
Yeah,
going
going to.
for 2 before that.
But
So
now Justin Fields, yeah,
yeah.
I know it's gonna be the Dwayne Haskins comparison forever, but like
Yeah.
he will be a good quarterback.
I
I
think
hope.
he's gonna be solid. I think, the way he performed at Georgia, even though friggin' Jake Fromm was that's so ridiculous. But he was decent in the games he started there as a true freshman.
Yeah.
So, just think what he could be doing there now. It's not just the Ohio State system like I think it was for Dwayne Haskins.
Yeah. And I mean, you have a future, yeah, I still say future like Pro Bowl tackle in Becton, so it's not like you're throwing him to a complete fire. Like he's not. It's not like rookie Deshaun Watson or like David Carr. Like I'm just gonna keep naming off like Texans quarterbacks because they just don't know how to protect
I've never had an
quarterbacks.
offensive line.
Yeah.
But now they have Tunsil, and the Dolphins have that pick.
Which is for a significantly better
Yeah, lineman prospect,
yeah.
exactly.
And I mean, I just was he supposed to even go? Was Tunsil like supposed to go like super high? I know that I didn't mean to have a pun because the mask thing put his draft stock down a ton. So I know that affected it. But
Yeah.
like
No, that was it. That was why.
yeah, I know that's why. But like was
It was
he
scary.
projected like top 10, top 5? I know he went to like
He was
16.
projected to be I think the second best
Yeah.
offensive lineman prospect in that draft, and I had
Yeah.
him going top 10. I still remember. That was when the NFL.com used to do the mock draft creator,
Yeah.
and I had him going top 8, I think. But
Yeah. I mean, I don't know, he's a Pro Bowler, which is so weird. Because I mean, our Texans friend Michael is always is complaining about how many penalties he draws, and I mean, it's the Texans.
The right side of that line that's so bad, though.
Yeah,
Like that right side kills
like
them.
Titus Howard. I mean, As much as it hurts me to say,
Yeah.
they were going after Andre Dillard, and we were like, you know what? We're going to jump the Texans. We're going to get Andre Dillard. And that panned out just so well, you know? Oh, God.
So bad. So
Yeah.
bad. All right, we want to do playoff.
Yeah. So, 7 seeds. Green Bay is a bye, and KC is a bye, right?
Yeah.
All right.
With 1 o'clock, Buffalo, Indy.
I think Buffalo kind of has it in the bag because they've looked just too unstoppable. Josh
Yep.
Allen is. I don't want to look at our quarterback ranking video because I feel like I underrated him, but he has taken such a step from his first couple years and got Diggs. You got Diggs. You got Cole Beasley. You got. I mean, the running backs definitely need some help as a someone who drafted Devin Singletary in like the 6th round.
I picked him
I
up as a
mean,
free agent. He got me like 10
yeah, and I
points.
mean that defense is still really good, and I mean they match up not they match up fairly well. Talking
Yeah.
about Indy, like Jonathan Taylor is a monster.
Mhm.
As I thought like picking him in drafts was like is he just gonna? I thought it wasn't gonna be like Wisconsin. I thought it was just gonna. I wanted him to be like Wisconsin Jonathan Taylor, and I think he ended the year like third in rushing yards because
Really?
he had like 1 trillion yards last week against
Even with the Naheem Hines thing
yeah
and all that?
Jordan Wilkins. Like good
Yeah.
luck. Yeah. So I think he's the running back of the future. I mean, you definitely need a receiver. Like Ty is getting old. Zach Pascal's not a top 3 receiver on a playoff team. And I mean, your line's obviously good. You got Quentin Nelson. I mean, that defense is what needs to neutralize Josh Allen because
Yeah.
I mean, for most of the season, they've played generally very well, especially that secondary and the linebacking core. But if I were to say a score, I would say like 26-16 Buffalo.
That's fair. Yeah. I'm going to say 31-20 Buffalo. Um I feel bad because this would be Philip Rivers' last game.
Yeah,
He's had a solid enough season in Indy. I think he's like top 10 in the league in passing yards, and that offense under Frank Reich, with how undermanned they really are in comparison to some of the top offenses in the league, has been absolutely fantastic in my opinion. And that defense, the secondary and that linebacker core is just so solid. But I mean, when you run up against this Bills team that is so hot right now, and with Josh Allen, where he is right now, this is just, I mean, the worst matchup that you could pull, I think, out of all of these teams that
yeah.
are playing in this wild card weekend. So I'm gonna take them, and yeah, moving on to the second round. So game number 2, Rams Seahawks. Um, I really think this is prime for Seattle right here.
Yeah, John Wolford against Russell Wilson.
Yeah.
I know that Seattle pass defense for most of the season was on track to be one of the worst of all time.
But they've
But
been great the past couple of
yeah,
weeks.
and yeah, that defense is getting better. And when you have a former, no shots at the XFL, but a former, I think Arizona Hot Shots quarterback, John Wolford, getting off the practice squad because Jared Goff is just hurt. Yeah, there's no
Yeah.
way. There's no way. And I
No.
mean, we talked about it at the beginning of the season. We think Seattle can go far. And I
Yeah.
mean, they haven't impressed me enough as of late to be a true contender in the NFC. But I say it's not going to be a fun game. Like, I mean that the defense will neutralize Seattle a little bit, so the score doesn't look that bad. But I'll say like 21-9 Seattle because there'll be three field goals.
There we go. I just feel like the Seattle Seahawks with kind of the defensive revival that they've had so late within this season. And the fact that I have, trust in their offense to get back on track. At the end of the day, this is Russell Wilson, DK Metcalf, and Chris Carson as, and Tyler Lockett. So, I trust in the personnel that they have to get back on track to what they were the first 8 weeks. I think, it's been a combination of tough defensive matchups and somewhat of a downward spiral from Russell Wilson, who is Russell Wilson. I mean, It's playoff time. He's going to step up. So I'm going to say this is a win. I'm going to say 20-6.
Yeah.
How about that? Yeah. I just don't think the Rams can compete.
Yeah, no way.
But our night game, Bucs and the football team. Not quite the big matchup we were looking for, but
I mean, thankfully the football team defense isn't terrible, so it's not going to be like completely like a waste of however long, 2 hours. So I'll say like 28 to like 13. I can't see that football team defense, football team offense really getting it going against defense has been up and down for Tampa, but like outside of Terry McLaurin and Antonio Gibson, like who are you worrying about? Like you're gonna have Devin White and like a Levante David on Logan Thomas, so you don't really have much to worry about. So yeah.
I'm gonna say 23-10. I feel like this is gonna be a little closer than expected, just because I like how that football team defense is playing going into this week, and we know the Pats are gonna be the Bucs. I'm sorry, Tom Brady. The Bucs are gonna be without Mike Evans this week, but I expect Chris Godwin to step up. I expect Ronald Jones to keep the great run that he's been on the past couple of weeks. And, I think this is definitely a win.
Yeah.
So next we got Ravens-Titans. Kind of the big one. I think this is the best game of the weekend.
Yeah. I mean, both teams, Baltimore's been on a stretch that I feel like they just can't get slowed down, and that Tennessee defense is not looked particularly elite as of late. And Derrick Henry is currently the minority owner in the Baltimore Ravens. Earl Thomas would still be on this team if it weren't for him ending his career. Jackson has come back to playing like an elite quarterback, and he has most of his weapons back. J.K. Dobbins has been looking really good. The defense. Corey Davis and A.J. Brown are two very solid receivers, but Marcus Peters and what's his name? Marlon Humphrey, probably the best corner duo in the league, like pound for pound. Just that linebacking core is solid with Judon and defensive line with Calais Campbell, and I think Baltimore could get their revenge. But if Derrick Henry does Derrick Henry things, then it'll be rough. So I think it could be a high scoring game. So I'll say like 35-28 Baltimore.
Okay. Yeah, I'm going to say 27-24 the Ravens. I just feel like Lamar Jackson, after his massive poo-poo, has suddenly gotten back in the groove. That Browns game really was, his comeback party. And that defense, has really stepped out the past couple of weeks. We forget that, the Bengals were great against the Steelers. We forget that the Giants were fighting for a playoff spot. So, they've really stepped up. And Tennessee, to me, has looked like probably, I mean, outside of the Browns, who we'll get into,
The
and the
most,
Rams,
yeah, the most
one of the
suspect team
biggest
in the playoffs.
pretenders
Yeah,
in this whole playoffs. I mean, for that defense to allow Houston to put up 38.
yeah, with like one receiver, one of their main receivers, Brandon
Yeah,
Cooks. Because I know you
yeah.
don't have Kenny Stills, you don't have Will Fuller, so like,
I mean, they should have lost that game. If
yeah,
AJ Brown doesn't make that incredible catch, like that game is over.
yeah,
So
and they literally got a dunk field goal to win the game.
yeah, exactly. So I mean, I think Baltimore is going to be motivated going into this. You know, they've
Yeah,
had it two straight
especially after
times.
last year.
Yeah, I still think Derrick Henry goes off.
Yeah,
I mean, I think that's a guarantee. But I think close game, Baltimore pulls it out.
yeah.
Bears
Uh,
Saints.
this is not a good game to be completely honest.
Yeah. I mean,
I mean, the renaissance of Mitch Trubisky is happening before our very eyes, and it's very strange. But I'm pretty sure they're exactly a 500 team, and New Orleans has looked great, especially with Kamara just deciding to just go off. And I mean, Drew Brees, he's on his last legs at this point, to be
yeah.
completely honest. And
I mean,
Michael
he said
Thomas
he's going to
is
retire.
off his
Yeah.
OG. Yeah, so I mean, as long as the defense contains Mitch Trubisky, I think you're fine. So I mean, just hand it off to Kamara and just let him eat. It's gonna be a very boring game unless Mitch Trubisky is truly fighting for his job. So say like 19-13 Seattle, just because not Seattle, geez, New Orleans, because both of those defenses are very good.
I'm going to say 27-7, the New Orleans Saints. Um, this game is going to be broadcast on Nickelodeon, and that is not appropriate for the kids.
Yeah,
Uh, I think Alvin Kamara returning is fantastic for that team. I know the NFL kind of wiggled their way that in there with the COVID protocols and put the game on Sunday. But that's great for them, and I feel like that'll get that offense flowing, even against a stout Bears defense. And that I feel like the last time they played, you know, this New Orleans team was not at full strength. I feel
yeah,
like they have gotten into their groove the past couple of weeks, and they're primed for a big game here.
yeah.
All right, so our last game of the weekend.
Oh gosh.
Now this is Pittsburgh and Cleveland. Yeah.
I mean, I'm obviously rooting for the Browns as much as possible because it's the Browns. We just want them to do good.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, yes, the Steelers have looked very sus lately because you know the Bengals, and yeah, just not finishing the season off as strong as possible. And they lost Week 17 against the Browns, but that doesn't mean a lot because I mean they were starting, they were rotating between Josh Dobbs and Mason Rudolph. So I mean, as long as that defense contains Nick Chubb and Jarvis Landry, they should be fine. But if Big Ben plays like he has as of late, it could be a lot closer than I think. Even though I'm pretty sure Olivier Vernon got hurt, so that's a big blow to the defense. Because I mean, Myles Garrett obviously has a vendetta against the Steelers organization for the rest of his career.
No,
So
they had a handshake after the game. They worked it out.
yeah, but I say like this would probably be a really close game, just a nice defensive game because I mean I can't see Cleveland or Pittsburgh doing a ton on offense. So I'll say like 17-7 because just Baker's running out of weapons at this point. I mean, hopefully it's not like that Jets game where he has nobody at all.
Nobody. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say 20-14 in favor of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Obviously with the way they've slipped off the past couple of weeks, this one could be primed for an upset, but I feel like they're going to have a lot of motivation with the way the Browns handled themselves after a, week 17 win against literally all of Pittsburgh's backups.
Yeah.
And so, they feel like there's going to be something extra there. Big Ben is always solid in the playoffs. And that defense is still that defense. I mean, there's still TJ Watt and, that great secondary. So we'll see. Yeah. And those are our playoff predictions, and I think that's it. Is that all we got?
I think we're good.
Yeah. All right. So.
Yeah. I'm just looking forward to us losing our mind once the Eagles do anything within their organization, and we'll probably record ourselves just like with the 6th pick, the Eagles select
Patrick Surtain,
Amon St. Brown.
Oh no! Oh no! We'll be back. Talk Sixers.
Yeah.
Talk more about this horrible franchise.
Yeah.
See you guys soon. Fire Howie Roseman once again.
Yeah.